Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. Ahmaduhu wasta'inuhu wastadihi wastaghfiruhu wa uminu bihi jalla wa ala wa la akfuruhu wa ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluhu. As-salahu bil huda wa dinil haq liyudhhiruhu ala din kulihi wa la karihal mushrikun. All praise belongs to Allah. We praise Him, we seek His help, His assistance, and His guidance. We believe in Him and do not disbelieve in Him. I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, and Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is a servant and messenger. Allah sent him, that is Muhammad, with Deen al-Haq, the religion, the way, the methodology of truth. This way of life known as Islam will rise to its proper position in this world, whether the mushriks like it or not. Amma ba'd, fa'inna astakal hadith kitabullah wa awtaqa al-ura kalimatu taqwa wa khayrul bilali milatu Ibrahim wa khayrul sunani sunatu Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam wa ashraful hadith dhikrullah wa asanu al-qasasi hadha al-Quran wa khayrul umuri awazzimuha wa shayrul umuri muqtatatuha wa asanu al-hadyu hadyu al-anbiya wa ashraful maut katlu shuhada wa amma al-amma dalalatul ba'da al-huda wa khayrul amali ma nafa wa khayrul hadi ma isba'a wa shayrul amma al-kaf. The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam has said the most truthful of discourses is Kitabullah, or the Book of Allah. The most trustworthy word is taqwa, a fear of Allah. The best of the community is the community of Prophet Ibrahim. The best way of life is the Sunnah of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. The remembrance of Allah is the most glorious of all things. The best of all narrations is Quran. The best acts are those requiring the highest degree of will and determination. The worst acts are those based on innovation. The most glorious death is the death of the martyr. The most wretched blindness consists of going astray after finding the right way. Best guidance is that which people may be able to follow. The worst blindness is the blindness of the heart. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Inna Allah yahmadu bil-adl wal-ihsani وَإِيتَاءِ ذِي الْقُرْبَى وَيَنْهَى عَنِ الْفَحْشَاءِ وَالْمُنكَرِ وَالْبَغْيِ يَعِظُكُمْ لَعَلَّكُمْ تَذَكَّرُونَ. Allah commands justice, doing of good, and liberality to kith and kin, and He forbids all shameful deeds and injustice and rebellion. He instructs you that you may receive admonition. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. فَمَنْ يُرِيدِ اللَّهُ أَنْ يَهْدِيَهُ يَشْرَحْ صَدْرَهُ لِلْإِسْلَامِ. Those whom Allah has planned willing to guide, He opens their breasts to Islam. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, wassalatu wassalamu ala khayril mursaleen, Muhammadin an-Nabi al-Ummi, wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ijma'in. Amma ba'd, yaqulu Allahu ta'ala fil Quran al-Kareem, inna Allaha wa malaikatuhu yusalluna ala an-Nabi, ya ayyuha alladhina amanu صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل على سيدنا مولانا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم. Dear brothers, it's an honor and a privilege to give khutbah on post Friday, the day of Jum'ah, and we want to use this opportunity to explain a few things. And first of all, of course, you know that most of these are going on a little website, and there's been a little struggle on the website between haq and batil, between truth and falsehood. And during the first period, we always relinquish the battlefield to the enemies of Islam. That's actually a tactic. It's not any problem at all. And so we want people to look at these websites and look at these because they're kind of an advertisement. And what they're going to show is what the Muslim Ummah has been going through for the last 35 or 40 years. And I will speak on a knowledge base for about the last 35 years. But we're going to move backwards. Instead of going way back to the beginning, we're going to move from this period backwards. That's why recently we've been focused so much on this period of time. There's a reason for that, because the last 3 years, so many things have happened. And we have to teach the people certain things. Number one, there's two very important things. People do not believe that you can face these satanic forces and survive. That no individual definitely can, no group can, no nation can, and no organizational, whether it's Ikhwan al-Muslimin, whether it's whoever, Jamaat Islami, they don't feel like the human being can challenge the systems of Satan. Now, they have a reason for believing that, because when you study Quran, Hadith, and history, you'll see that for most of history, Hizbul Shaitan has ruled, satanic forces. We have bright spots in history during the time of Isa alayhi salam, but he didn't rule, basically, but he had a good message. During the time of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, this is one of the only times in what we might call in semi-modern history, right, where the forces of good exercise state power. Through the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, through the Khulafah Rashidun, and that was what we call the golden period of Islam. Now the West called the golden period of Islam when it was this great super empire and it covered the globe. They call that the glorious age of Islam. Great writings, great studies, great science, and all of that, great medical discoveries, all of those things. They call that the golden age of Islam. We don't call that the golden age of Islam. That's the age of dictators, rulers, and cutthroats. If you study the history of the transition of power from amongst Muslims, it makes what they do in the West look like wonderful stuff. Study just any transition of power in any so-called caliphate or historical process. Say, man, of course our brothers in Africa were better. They wasn't in the wholesale slaughter like others we might call. So that's why we want people to pay close attention, because they will learn from us. It's not arrogance. We are assuming the role of educator. Why? Of this period, this historical transitional period. Why are we assuming the role as educators? Number one, we have made a, let's call it a 35 year research project, study, functional research. In other words, we've been studying our environment, we've been studying the enemies of Islam, we have been historicizing, we've been archiving, we've been recording, we've been as time go on, we begin to experiment, pull things out, and put things in. You know, that means you can change the experiment a little bit by adding a few things in and taking a few things out. So we have been using something that they didn't think Negroes could do, a scientific method of study and research. All revolutionaries had to do it. The communists had to do it. The Muslims had to do it in the old days. They didn't believe that it would be anyone amongst us to use the scientific method of research. That's why we came up with strategic management under conditions of repression. How are you going to manage a movement when they have COINTEL programs, they have MI5 or 6, they got this stuff all over the world, in every country? How you going to rule? If you have a revolution in Iran, some of the ulama was already snitches during the Shah's time. So what's going to happen after the revolution? They're going to be right in there trying to find a way to surrender to the West. We're going to talk about that as we go on. We have had the privilege to be right along with the whole process during the Negro Rebellion, during the African Rebellion, let's call it decolonization, and finally in Islam here. And we want to begin by La tarakabuna tafakan and tabakan, or tabakan and tabakan. Surely you will embark on stage after stage. There's another translation. You shall surely travel from stage to stage. I like there's another translation I don't have with me, but it says, you will surely ride from stage to stage. And now we're going back to our historical process of evolution. In order to reach a process of global transition, or the introduction of Islam in a functional way to people's life, you're going to have to go through a transitional period. A lot of people talk about the word revolution a lot, but we use the word evolution. And this is the idea coming from this item. You shall surely embark on stage after stage, or you will surely ride, mount up, board, climb, pursue, travel from level after level. That means all of us in our life, especially those that are old, those of us who are older, we know that we have been going through a transitional process. We're the same physical person that we were, and our characteristics that God gave us from the very beginning have either improved or declined based on how much input we try to give to it. If Allah gave us some good characteristics, if we've been really trying to use our Islam and polishing those characteristics up, by the time we reach a level of 65, 70, 55, 70, 80 years old, we should have reached some level of excellence. That's moving from stage to stage. So this is what the ayat is talking about. Now, strategic management under conditions of repression carries that same idea. Strategic management under conditions of repression comes out of studying our environment. So the first 20 years, we see that ain't nobody have been successful with old Sam. Just haven't been successful. He knocked us out of the box. You know what I mean? He set us up, he killed us, he do all this. This is normal. So now, how are we going to, since we're not going to quit, we're not going to go back, how are we going to get this job done? How are we going to reach a final conclusion? That means we ourselves have to improve. We have to improve to the level that any fitna that the government or the snitches or people do against us, they don't have their desired effect, because we have evolved over and beyond. In the early days, they could use cutie pies. If they want to start troubling any masjid, they just drop a few cutie pies, and the Imam would try to load up with 4 wives. Anybody left the Emir, and they'd have fitna going on. Right away. All they got to do is drop a few tenders, and then that would do the job. Okay? In my case, I don't want to get into it, but I had been a drug dealer, and a big one. So the people saw we struggled to buy Masjid, we got it open. People at the front door come and say, man, you helped us when you was big, and now we want to help you. Here's a package. Now they got somebody at the back door. They saying, man, if I could just get my hold to a couple of keys, a few keys, number 1 or number 2 stuff, I could and I could count. So I could say, all I got to do is take the package from the front door to the back door, and I could buy 3 or 4 massages, just like that. So once you've been through the system, though, you say, I'm sorry, I'm Muslim now, I'm sorry. But if your deen ain't down the pat, you'll compromise. You'll say, well, hey man, look at the good I can do. All I got to do is take the package from the front door to the back, and I don't have to run all over the country. Once you've been set up so many times, that's what Islam teaches you. Because a Muslim is not bit from the same hole twice. So you shall move from stage to stage. I want to explain why, with all of the fitna that happened in California, why we were so calm, why were we so relaxed, and why we wasn't in a panic. I want to explain that so everybody will know. Okay, this is the latest. You can see it down the stairs. When it says something like Walayati Faqih, they say it translates as a fitna, is a protection from global fitna. Well, this is was on the front page of the newspaper in Iran. It's translated from the lecture at World Studies in Tehran, World Studies Department. I spoke in English. They liked it so well, they transferred it to Farsi. Why? Because it outlines where Iran is, where's the global situation, and what should be done. That means we're talking about Iran has to have an image of itself, where it wants to be in 10 years. You have to see yourself. You have to see Iran. Where does it want to be? And then you have to come up with a plan. How is it going to get there? How are you going to avoid the continuous obstacles that come against you? It was so well put together, there had to be something, because they put it on the front page, right? So, in the West, you don't hear from Imam Musa, right? I don't speak on no programs, no platforms. Somebody told me that Abdul Malik spoke at the Turkish Masjid, and that he spoke at, what was that? The Riyadh last year. Okay. Whatever those reasons are, maybe they wanted me to be mad about it, but those people don't count, and I'll explain something about what don't count. Now, this paper here is from way back in the time of Imam. This has got to be way back at least 30 years old, but you see, the head Shia Sheikh, Sayyid Hussein, from Pakistan, the head Sudanese from Sudan, you can see the front page. This is the head Iraqi or Palestinian leader. And then you have your favorite Negro. You can tell it's a while back because that's a black beard. That is not a single nothing on that beard. That boy is snow black. I mean, black is tar. Snow white. I don't want to get confused here. Anyway, so you're not going to be on the front page of nobody's newspaper unless you're doing something, right? Unless you mean something. This is the days of the developmental process of the Islamic movement, the global Islamic movement, okay? Whether it's, this is Sri Lanka on the other side of India. The people are Buddhists, but they are technically Indians. It's an island down at the bottom of India. Sri Lanka. Serendipity. They used to call it Ceylon. That's where the serendipity comes from. It's such a beautiful place. How Muslims voted, then they had welcome Imam Musa, right? This is in Sri Lanka. You're not going to get on the front page of Sri Lankan newspapers unless there's something going on. Now, you might say, but you don't talk to nobody here in America. They have Siraj Wahaj, they have Zaid Shakir, they have Boku Coons. Everybody but you, right? Well, I'm going to tell you why in a minute. I just have this one side. This is half of it. Al-Hajj Malik Shabazz, most honorable black leader in the U.S. This is March 1989. This is a whole page, and we talk about the Honorable Louis, you know who, so they'll know the difference between what's going on. That's a whole center page, right? Okay. The Negroes today don't say nothing about the government. I heard Zayd give a lecture the other day or something. We have to be bold. We have to be courageous, is what he was saying. In the future, I'm going to tell you about the courageous stands they took when we're trying to form national organizations inside of the U.S., how bold and courageous they was. You know, I'm going to tell you, and I just don't have the time today. Protest to protect. Oh Allah, free my father. This is back in 2000. No, it's not 2000. No. This is 99. This one I demonstration in San Francisco, D.C., and in Westwood. Yeah, this is back in the 90s. This is projecting what's going to happen to the Muslims. Harass and detain Muslims without due process. Are they doing that? Of course they are. But none of the other Negroes, they're not talking about it now, and we done had 25 years of it, and they still are just saying, we got to prepare ourselves. Prepare yourself for what? To go in the Kabir stand, to die? Or are you going to stand up? Imprison and detain Muslims based on secret evidence. Tap phone lines, violate all privacy rights, that stuff, they'd have thrown it out the window. Your Fourth Amendment, Fifth Amendment, all your rights constitutionally, you can throw them out the window. Why? Because they've thrown them out the window. Black Lives Matter? Do they matter to the system? Or are they still shooting niggas down in the street anytime they want to? Right? Detain Muslims based on guilt by association. You hang out with this guy, he's a bad guy, so you're guilty. Eliminate the rights of Muslims to give any form of aid, and assistance. You help a guy, they'll put you away. That's them. You see this? We just showed this a million times. Revolution from Egypt to the Americas. This is on the internet. We didn't make this poster. We just downloaded it. Oakland and the American Islamic Revolution. Oakland and the Islamic Revolution. Imam Jamil Alameen, H. Rap Brown. Everybody knows him, right, from the revolutionary days. Imam Luqman. Imam Jamil's in prison right now for the rest of his life. Imam Luqman was martyred, right, 7 years ago. What is this? Okay, yeah, in 2009. That's right. Time is moving. It'll be 7 years in another month or two. Then they got me on there. Why they have me there? There's a message. Your homeboy, he's in prison for the rest of his life, running his mouth, talking all that Islam. The other homeboy, we done shot him 21 times, some say 18 times. And Muslims didn't even collect no money at the janazah for the community and for his family. They didn't collect a dime. And they had thousands of people there. People told me they could have collected 50,000 just like that. That would have solved all their problems. And it's me, dear brother. What does that mean? Nigga, if you keep running your mouth, you're going to meet David's fate. And we say, of course, you can kiss our behind. Yeah. You wouldn't even know these guys. You probably never heard of them. This is Niagara Falls. I had told them Dr. Khani, Sheikh Safarazi, Javad Larijani, the other Larijani brothers in Iran. They got the whole thing almost hooked up. One leader part of it. All these are big shots. And the last one I want to show you is one of my favorites. This is the Rahbar, of course. He's got a big smile, acts like he's happy to see me, right? You don't have no other Negroes taking pictures. You ain't never even seen no American, right? To even get up close to the Rahbar. Tell the truth, you haven't seen one. And you can't see all of these people at this meeting, but this is just a corner of it. You have big sheikhs from Pakistan. These are the heads of Palestine. These are the head of Sudan, other Palestinians. These are all white folks. You can tell their turbans and how they trail way down here. Those are white folks from Europe and Central Asia. All of us are together to figure out how to make the best presentation for Islam, how to reestablish Islam, and how to make the world technically a better place. You know, this is a president they all love to hate, Ahmadinejad. Even a lot of Iranians don't like him. Well, now, why did we not respond to all of the provocations in Oakland over the last few years? Why? People come and sticking guns in your face, the Masjid. People coming in the Masjid with guns and all of that stuff. Why you don't respond? People getting on the internet saying anything they want. We don't respond. Why? I want you to think of a movie about, did y'all see Red Tails? Red Tails, the Black Flyers. You know, Tuskegee Airmen. You know, there's a very unique part of that film. And this white general, he got 3 stars on him. He's saying, can you all talk aside? Can you cut down our losses? Remember that? He says, Lawrence, whatever his name is. He said, we can significantly cut your losses. He didn't say what they did. They stopped their losses. They didn't cut the losses of white folks. He says, our people have been chasing rabbits. You know, when they got these B-17s flying over Germany, dropping bombs, if the bombers get there and get back, they destroy the target, and it's 10 men on the plane, so you got 10 husbands, 10 sons, 10 family members that all get back home, right? So the other flyers are trained, they want to be aces, they want to get their name, they want to put a little star or cross on their plane. Like they used to do gunslingers, used to put notches on their guns, everybody they killed. So, he told the general, if you give us new planes and this, that, and another, and no more of them milk runs, he said, we will cut your losses significantly. So when they first went out, the first thing the Germans did was send out decoys, right? The decoys are to do what? The decoys fly like they're going to attack the planes, then they go this way, and what happened? The fighters is supposed to be protecting the bombers, go after them. Then the second wave come and they wipe out the bombers, right? But the black pilots, remember, stay focused on protecting the bombers. Do not go and chase rabbits. You see what I mean? Do not let people divert you from your mission. In life, whatever you're going to be in movies, you're going to be one thing or another. You cannot let people divert you from where you're going. Wherever you're going, you got to be nice to everybody, but you got to be focused on where you're going. You have to be focused on your training, on your rest, on your study. Whatever you're going to be, you got to study that. You're going to wave at everybody, be friendly, but when it comes time for your test and it comes time for your challenges, you have to be focused on what you're doing. Young people, you have to remember one thing. Always, whatever you have to study, if you got a test coming up, you study for it. You get ready for it. Why? Because that's your test. At first, it's just a school test, right? But in life, you're going to have big tests. You have to study and get ready for those tests, just like you have to get ready for an examination. This is just the way life is. So, I showed you these pictures of where we are as a community. Now, there's a lot of stuff that's going on that other people have no idea about. I'll give you a few examples. You think about Iran. Think about 1987. McFarlane, I guess he was Secretary of State at that time, right? He flies over to Iran, lands in Iran, no invitation, no nothing, right at the height of the war, right at the height of Magbag America, death to America, everybody foaming at the mouth. He flies in, give him 2 pistols and a cape. Why did he do that? There's another guy we all liked. His name was Rafsanjani. We liked him. He gave good talks. He was a sharp guy. All of a sudden, for no reason, he was giving Friday khutbahs every other week, all of a sudden, he started making excuses like, I didn't do this, I didn't do that, I didn't invite this guy, I didn't. Wow. So, I started thinking about it. We had a meeting with Iranian and Arab brothers. In those days, the Arab brothers was real active. This meeting was at Las Cruces, University of New Mexico in Las Cruces. After it was all over, they said, okay, Musa, so what do you really think about so-and-so? It's just a closed room. I said, I wouldn't trust him around the corner. And they all agreed, 100%. Before the revolution, they used to have, they had a system the brothers told me some ulama would be taken out, was supposed to be part of the rebellion, and they would be so-called tortured. But they weren't tortured, they've taken out, the medical doctor would scrape them all up, make them look real bad, like they've been tortured. They bandage them up and put them back amongst the brothers. Why? Because all the brothers would say, oh man, that brother was really tortured, and he's a good brother. He would rise to the level of leadership. And they did penitentiary time. Some of them was in prison with the Rahbar. See, all the big leaders, the Rahbar right now, I told them on Tezri in the old days, everybody was in prison. Rafsanjani was in prison too. But if you get a murder case and they lock you in a cell with 5 people, who were 2 of those people? Police. Right? Because when you go to court, they say, so-and-so said, they ain't got nothing on you. So-and-so was in the cell. He confessed to me. Right? Is that common in America? Absolutely. So if you ever get a case and you go in a cell and you talk about your case, then you pack your stuff up to go into the penitentiary. Right? That's the custom. It is a custom in Iran also. So when the revolution happened, they have to have a reason. The U.S. now is caught. They got their Vietnam syndrome going on. They got all kind of stuff going on. So they didn't have a revolution in Iran, now a valid revolution. The world agrees with it, everybody. The Sunnis, the Shias, everybody agree with this revolution. The U.S. don't have no comeback to say, well, da-da-da-da-da about it. So all of a sudden, a student group, some of them later become vice presidents and all of that, and they lead the hostage taking. What does a hostage taking do? 444 days. It turns the American people against Iran 1,000%. It was the 911. Isn't that right? That's what it did. Wait, let me go back. Every day on TV, Ted Koppel, they always said this is the 321st day of our capitalism. So, who's the one? There's only one student leader that was against the capture of the U.S. Embassy. That was Ahmadinejad, the one they hate here. Well, if he was against the taking of American hostages or spies, why is he hated? And why are the other first and second vice presidents a few years ago, why are they talked to and they're romantic and in love? It is because the reason McFarland goes over there in 87, y'all heard of the October surprise, right? Y'all know what the October surprise is? It's like, this is said to be like the September surprise. If they want to, well anyway, here's what happened. Reagan wouldn't have a chance of beating Carter because Carter has a global policy of human rights. Human rights. Y'all remember that? Remember Andy Young? Human rights. See, if y'all was inside the U.S., it may not have been nothing. But if you traveled in Latin America, if you was in Central America, the Carter administration's people with human rights. Do you know why the revolution was successful? Because the Carter would not allow the generals, the CIA, the NSA to support the Shah and slaughter more Iranians. He didn't allow that. Therefore, the revolution happened. We're going to get to the NSA, the CIA, and all those people who technically run the political outside the U.S. What the State Department should be run, they don't run it. The CIA, the FBI run it inside. Let's get back October surprise. If you make Carter look weak and Reagan look strong, that was the agreement. some of the Iranians, not all of them, some of the Iranians, we hold the hostages. In fact, we holding them up until when? Until Carter's last day in office. In fact, when he goes to Algeria and pick up the hostages, he's actually not the president anymore. It was the day after. Y'all remember that? What's going on in all of that? Why is McFarlane in '87 going to Iran in the middle of the war? Here's the reason why. The war is raging. Between Iran and Iraq, there's 1 million people dead in the Jabha, in the war, from 1980 to 1988. For holding the hostages, the Republicans have made promises to the Iranians. The death rate is getting so high that the Republicans are panicking that Iran is going, even the snitches can't stand it no more. They're slaughtering the people. We can't take it. McFarlane goes over there for no reason. You find me a reason why he's there. To tell them, stick with us. We're going to clean house for you. We done got the presidency. We're in the second term, Reagan's second term. We're going to hold this presidency for the next decades. Stick with us. We can't help you now. We got to hate you now in the public, but as soon as the stuff passes, we're going to look out for you. Did the Republicans look out for Iran? Let's take a look. After the war is over, the first great gift, 1991, y'all remember that? Desert Storm and all that. Why do they have Desert Storm? Because Saddam attacked Saudi Arabia, right, and Kuwait. Does Saudi Arabia and Kuwait deserve to be attacked? Sure they do. Why? The U.S. done told them, look, we're going to got to jump on Saddam, so we want y'all to harass him. They were all allies. Saudi Arabia gave them $50 billion. Kuwait gave Saddam $33 billion during the war. They come to Saddam and say, you got to give us our money back, man. He said, man, my whole country is devastated. You know, Saddam is a bully. So what does he do? He said, y'all going to treat me like that? You remember April Gillespie, the U.S. ambassador? What did Saddam say? He asked her permission. Y'all remember that? And she said, we have no interference with inter-Arab conflicts. Right? So Saddam got the green light. He attacked. So he thought George Bush was just lying. Oh, we're going to attack you. We're going to do this. He thought they was lying. Why? Because that was the deal. That was the deal. See, they got Saddam. Saddam got a big army. He's a bully, right? He's a threat to the region. He don't fight good, but he got the biggest army in the region and he got semi-modern weapons so he can dominate the region. Not they stooge Egypt and Saddam, you can't tell what he's going to do, right? So they set him up. That's why you got to have clean ideas, clean faith, and a clean spirit. You can't let the white man set you up. If you make any deal with him, he's going to burn you. He has to. There's no other way around it. So here's what happened. So they invade Iran's old enemy, Saddam Hussein, and weaken him. Isn't that right? Remember? But that's not enough. They pretend like they're threatening Iran. We're going to keep all options on the table. They ain't going to bust a grape. Right? What did they do? They come back and wipe Saddam clean off the thing. What about Iran's other enemies? Taliban, the bums in Forget about them bums in Afghanistan. The meanest guys you ever seen. Who knocks them out of the box? America does. On whose behalf? On Iran's behalf. Why? Because October surprise. 1979 and 80. 1980. Yeah. Therefore, the remnants of the operators in those days and now are still in effect. Rafsanjani's crew in Iran, right now, what are they up to? They are up to weakening the Islamic State, through voting, through every other type of shenanigans. You will see that in 2009, right? Remember, there was an attempted coup on Iran, and everybody thought, you would thought the West was in on it, boy, and they said, we're going to knock them Iranians, and it backfired. What it did was it exposed all of the operatives in Iran, some of them, and outside. I showed you those pictures because on our job, no matter what the U.S. say, we're in the front row on all of this. Because ain't nobody else can tell you what I just told you. And it go on the thing. If it goes on the thing and I'm talking crazy like a fool, they'll say that nigga is crazy, right? This is going on. So I have to know what I'm talking about. Is this new? Absolutely not. It's been going on ever since you knew us. So we have been playing our part on the front row seat in the Islamic movement. We are not a part of the punk movement inside of the United States. Nor will we allow them, everybody say, oh, you look so lonesome out there. They're doing this to you, they're doing that to you. And I say the same thing the general told them, don't chase rabbits. Do you think I would let them stupid Negroes? We're dealing with worldwide, we gotta be dealing with worldwide issues. You cannot get, if you're on the front page for the last 30-something years, right, you gotta be doing something. If every time you go certain places, you meet with the top people. If starting back in the 80s, you spent time in certain places and you told the security forces what's going on in America, and you give them an update, then they got a chance, right? If you told people 30-something years ago, this is what's happening, this is who's who, and they got a whole chance to look, right, at all of them, that means that you're part of a revolutionary team. In the beginning of the revolution, everybody pretends to be together. As time goes on, you begin to look and find the transitional movements all around the world. I showed you Sri Lanka, I can show you South Africa, Pakistan, everywhere, right? The NSA, CIA, MI6, all of these work together to control the human potential movement all over the world. And there's nobody that ever get enough experience and enough time to put the whole package together. Unless it's somebody that they think that don't have the mental capacity to do it. If you're a buffoon or a clown, they'll show you anything because you're a buffoon or a clown. So they'll drag you around all over the world. And you'll be ho-humming, smiling with every movement, all the leaders, all ho-hum, ha 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 ha. And you'll be checking them all out. Right. That'll show you they're relaxed around you because you got to make people relaxed. You got to not make them suspicious and tension so they ain't going to show you that, oh, you can show me anything. I wouldn't see it anyway. Right? Then all of a sudden transition time comes. I'm telling you, the Iranians themselves, except the top security forces, don't even understand how this happened. What are they trying to, what are our, we're split in two now, what are our one group of friends trying to do? One group of our friends, and the reason I can speak about it now is because the Rahbar, Ayatollah Khamenei, is speaking about these subjects. We've been talking about them, but we couldn't go out ahead of him. He's talking about this exact subject, and he's talking about it how by himself. That means encirclement and suppression. He has a semi-encirclement, even he's in Iran. Why? Because the snitches have a structured organization, and they way out in front of the good guys, because the good guys want to do good. But they don't want no position, or they just want to make the rebellion, want to have a good life for everybody. But the snitches, the agents, are always looking, they're like Muawi. They're always looking for a spot. But when they get a spot, one gets a ministry, he brings in the rest of the snitches. Some of our friends are in the highest ministries in Iran right today. First name basis. You see them, hey man, come on by for dinner, that's right down. But they've gone bad. And they don't remember everything that they laid on the dear brother before they knew what they was doing. They just didn't know what they was doing. Dear believers, if you survive this white man here in America, for any amount of years, you are a card-carrying, gorilla-fied monster. That's right. The meanest of all systems in world history is your favorite white man here in America. He'll slaughter your children and women. He don't say, oh, I slaughtered a lot of little children, I can't sleep tonight. He don't do that. Black Lives Matter. The police don't care whether they matter. What people can't get in their mind is that the police go out every day looking for opportunity to kill a nigger. They don't believe that. I believe it. I know it because I've had firsthand for the last 50, getting on to be 60 years now, day-to-day contact with those people. They are looking for a reason to shoot a nigga. That's what I told them. The only Negro to ever appear on Ayatollah Khamenei, I think so. His website, somebody called me from Iran and told me, they said, yeah, you know the interview you did on Black Lives Matter when you told them in slavery they used to whip you, in Reconstruction up to modern times they used to hang black people, and it says now they shoot black people, but it's the same policy. They just didn't kill us when we were slaves. But after we wasn't slaves and wasn't property, they just lynched Negroes. Isn't that right? And now they don't lynch Negroes. Oh, we're progress. There's no progress. They just shoot y'all. You and I. Can you imagine? You give a gun and a badge to an idiot cracker and give him a badge and a gun and the right to shoot niggas, and what do you think he's going to do? It's insanity. Black Lives Matter. And Black Lives Matter, your whole Black Lives Matter movement, if it's like any other movement that comes out of America, Black Lives Matter will be controlled by black lives that like white systems. You know what they're asking for? We want civilian review boards. Anybody remember civilian review boards? Man, as I said, you gotta ask for something else. Ask for some cake and ice cream, anything, but not the same stuff they gave you 45, 50 years ago, right? Civilian review boards, oversight of the police. Hey, I'm gonna speed up. There's a point I want to make about this global situation. See, what they want in Iran is like what they have in Saudi Arabia. Islam, Saudis, Arabs put out Islam. No Islam in Saudi Arabia, right? But not the kind you got. In China, what do they have? They have a communist party without communism. A pure capitalist state, isn't that right? Who helped build it that way? The USA. From when? From day one. When they got rid of, when Chairman Mao died, they made a move. Who made a move? Deng Xiaoping. Who was helping Deng Xiaoping? Deng Xiaoping was the enemy of, when they used to have big meetings in the Communist Party, Deng Xiaoping couldn't hear good, so he'd sit way at the other end. Why? Because Chairman Mao was talking on this end. And they used to have a saying, Deng Xiaoping says it don't make no difference whether the cat is black or white, as long as it catches mice. What that means, it don't make a difference whether it's capitalism or communism. I don't care, as long as the system works. So that means the CIA will immediately begin to develop influence amongst the Communist Party on the side of Deng Xiaoping. Why? Because Chairman Mao is the one that's the true revolutionary. He makes mistakes, right? But he is the global international revolutionary, political and social leader of the world. The day Chairman Mao's wife died, Chairman Mao dies, his wife and his 4 partners go on trial. Y'all remember the Gang of 4? 1976, y'all don't remember the Gang of 4. The Gang of 4, that was Chairman Mao's leadership structure, including his wife. Deng Xiaoping comes to power, and right away, the floodgates of U.S. open up, and from 1980 to 1990, China becomes a global power, and 20 years after that, it is premier power. How did it develop so fast? Where did Chrysler go? To China. Right? Where did Ford go? Where did everything, you turn over anything you eat from, or drink from, or drive. What does it say? Made in China. Isn't that right? All from here. Remember deindustrialization of the West. What I'm talking about, there's a global policy. The people in power wants to keep power under any name. They'll give you communism, they'll give you the Communist Party in China, as long as they're capitalist. Why they against communism? Because the communists take everybody's property, their property. But if you are a capitalist with a communist name, they will send all their business over to you, right? And pretty soon you'll be more powerful than them. Why? Because capital has no nationalism. Capital follows capital. The rich people don't care what color you are, what race you are, what your national origin. Can you help me make some money? Yes, well, I like you. And they love each other. My connections in the dope world, they could come and stay in my house. I could go to their house, swim in their swimming pool. We liked each other. Yes. Some of them is Hell's Angels type. Stars and crosses, everything. But you a nigger, so what? I'm in the black movement, don't make no difference. You're a good pack of wood to me. Why? Because you give me a package at such a good price and such a good quality that is business. Don't nobody care about, only people care about color, race, nationalism, the dummies running around here starving to death. Therefore, what they want to do with Iran is Iran without Islam. Just like China without communism. Saudi Arabia, right, without Islam. They don't care. Who are there helping? Half of the officials, not half, a large group of officials in Iran right now are dead set on changing Iran back to a national state, a democracy. In Saudi Arabia, the reason they're panicking and going crazy is because, number one, it's time for them to go. And they know it. So their policy is erratic. The U.S. is talking about democracy. I'm going to close with this, because the thing that I want to tell you about is there's a movement that will inherit all of that power. It's the Shia community, the lovers of Ahlul Bayt. And as far as I'm concerned, it's a done deal. Well, how is that going to happen? Why is it going to happen? It's already happened. Years ago, we worked on unity. Oh, man, unity programs all over the world, everywhere. Wahda, wahda. You know, wahda, unity. That was Imam Khomeini's call. We couldn't produce no unity. Saudi Arabia, we spent $5 on unity. They spent $10,000 on fitna. You couldn't beat them. When Allah has designed for you unity, you're going to have it. This struggle, this right now, to me, it's a done deal. Saudi Arabia is incoherent and going crazy because of its policies. Its policies are crazy because they feel that the U.S. can dump them. And that the U.S. has moved toward Iran. This is common in U.S. history. I don't have time. The Marshall Plan helped build Germany. They had they helped build Japan after the war, because those two countries were natural leaders. Don't make the mistake of World War I. Punish Germany too much, because you'll have to fight it again in 20 years. Because why? Germany is a natural leader. In the European Union, who's the big guy over there? Germany. Germany is goose-stepping big old white folks. They whoop the other white folks. They just whoop them. That's the way it is. If you go to Germany right now and you see, they was big old tough white folks. They're tougher than other white folks. That's the way it is. They're mechanized and they do it in everything. In their life, in industry. Over here, when I went to Germany or I went to Europe, I left here, everybody was dying for a Mercedes-Benz. I went over there, you know what? All the cabs was Benzes. All the cabs, I said, these niggas is jumping off the building for a Benz and they taxi cabs here like a Ford. Right? German technology. BMWs. They motorbikes, right? V2 rockets, jets, 10 years ahead of everybody else, right? So you gotta help them. Japanese, the same way. Good old Honda, all them war, you know, the Japanese Zero and all of them. Hey man, the Japanese, they call the Japanese the white man of Asia. Because he just slaughters and whoops on, anyway. But the point is, they helped them both get up. Why? Because they wanted them as allies. So who really controls these departments? Well, let's take a minute. Various administrations, the Nixons, very happy with CIA, FBI, and all of that. Why? You could tell by their international policies. Nixon, still with Vietnam, The FBI, they ain't closed down no, what do they call it, COINTEL program or nothing. J. Hoover's fine with old, what's her name? Now Carter, Carter comes in, the State Department, human rights. Y'all may not know all the nuns killed in El Salvador and all that stuff down there. Okay. Carter, human rights, that means in Argentina, everywhere, even in Iran. Carter's talking about human rights. Who likes human rights? Nobody. The CIA, the FBI, they work against it. I'll give you an example. Your homeboy down there, the Negro in the White House. He started getting too friendly with people, what they do. And in a week's time, one boy jumps over the fence and gets in the White House. One gets on the elevator. Is that true? I don't believe it. With the president with a gun. Do y'all remember that last year? Do you think that's possible without them being in on it? What is that saying? That's saying, nigga, you got your family, you got everybody. We protect you. The security forces protect you. We don't like your policy. You got a line one more time, we're going to we're not going to let nobody. We're going to send people to blow your head off. Don't you remember your dear Kennedy that you love so much? You think Kennedy you should see, I hate to watch the film. He's just a white man, but he had, the Peace Corps. Do you know what the Peace Corps turned into? They killed Kennedy within 2 years. The Peace Corps was like another arm of the CIA. When I went to Africa, and in the 70s, early 70s, late 60s and early 70s, nobody in Africa trusted the Peace Corps. The Peace Corps, Kennedy, it's a good idea. We're going to do some peace. No. The other white folks, they don't want no peace. The CIA, the NSA, you think they want peace? Absolutely not. And the CIA and the FBI and all those people, internally, they're just the ones that's making us sound friendly to all the Muslims, and they're making Iran loved by everybody. Why? Because Saudi Arabia creates Boko Haram, Taliban, right? Who else? Daesh, ISIS, all of those people, right? Those people are so insane, right, that anybody fights them. Who's fighting them in Iraq? Moving them back. Who's fighting them in Syria? Who's fighting them all over the world? It's the Shia community. Why have the Shia been bombed and killed all over the world? And they've been responding with nonviolence. The world is beginning to feel sympathy toward the Shia community. And the Shias are not responding with violence. What is this doing? It is preparing the way for what we was always hoping for and couldn't produce. Wahda, unity. It will be a struggle, but it won't be a Sunni Shia struggle. It will be the Shias leading the attack against Daesh, against Taliban, against the people that killed Christians, Muslims, and everybody. Isn't that right? Everybody hate them. This is how Allah do. Allah got a mission for you, Allah set up the whole environmental circumstances. I move toward a close. The tipping point will be Bahrain and Saudi Arabia. Qatif in the eastern provinces, where they've been killing Shias and doing this. Eventually, the Shias are going to just rise up. They'll have plenty of support. And they'll probably cut it off a piece of Saudi Arabia and call it Shiistan. Inshallah. That's going to be a tipping point. Why? Because these enemies never slow down. The other point is Bahrain. Bahrain is over 80% Shias. You can't have that small group openly keep oppressing the people on and on without being a tipping point. When it tips, it'll be justified. If it would have happened 10, 20 years ago, it would be the mean old Shias against the peace-loving Sunnis. Not that anymore. It will be, technically, the Shia community saving Islam during this period. And you could tell last year at Arbain, when the Shias went to Karbala, it was 25 to 30 million people there. Some of them walking barefoot, right? And I told y'all then, I said, the Shias don't know it, but they're ready. They just have to be led correctly. They have good leadership. They have the Rahbar in Iran. But they got a whole political structure trying to get in him. And he's doing a good job. And I'll tell you, we're doing a good job here. You should be proud. You know, in the old days, they used to say, I want to be a credit to the race. I know y'all too young, remember that? A credit to the race. 1939, when the big dark sister got the Academy Award for Gone with the Wind. What was her name? I can't think. Hattie McDaniel. Right. She said, and I looked at her at the Academy, but a film of it. That lady was intellectually sharp, and she said, I want to be a credit to the race. When I was a kid, that was something that every Negro wanted to be. And if white folks told you, Johnny, you're a credit to your race, all your chest would come up. Right? We're a credit to the race. You know why? We ain't never buckled to the white man. I told you. Maybe other people can. The only problem with all of my friends that was big Negroes, they accepted white authority. They were smarter than I was, sharper than I was, or we was equal in the gangster world. The only difference between me and them, they accepted white authority. When the white man arrests you, you dutifully go to jail. I said, I ain't going for it. And we don't accept his authority now. He makes famous Muslims. That's your famous Muslims. Don't make us mad. You can have them niggas speak at the White House. You know, I'm going to stop in a minute. Man, it was 20-something years ago, almost. When that Madeline Albright and them was calling here, we want you to come down to Eid, but iftar. I said, I'm not coming to no iftar. The White House, y'all must be crazy. Then they get the Al-Moody, that's what they call it, Al-Moody, American Muslim Council. Brother, don't you come to the White House, we could have down there. I said, I ain't going down there with them crackers. I said, I was just making a joke. I said, you go in there, all right, them white folks will give you some 6-month delayed LSD, and you'll be giving a good Khutbah, and all of a sudden you'll see butterflies flying. I said, I ain't messing with them crackers. I'm not going down there. They gonna cook the food too? You must be crazy. Then my Baramika, y'all know my Baramika. Brother, can't you come to the White House? I said, hell no, I'm not coming down here. But we can do more inside than we can. I said, I'm sorry. I had a lot to say about that, working within outside the system. I said, I don't want to have nothing to do with them Peckerwoods. And if I did get up and say something, do you know who would lead the charge? Them niggas would pull out their knives and cut my throat. If I got up, we had a Eid down at the White House, not a Eid, iftar, and I jump up and say, Clinton, Madeline Albright, y'all ain't nothing but a bunch of crackers and crooks. You know, Musa killing the Muslims all up around here. They like get killed. And the white folks won't bother. The Muslims will. I'm telling you, they're serious. So, brothers and sisters, I got a lot to say, but here's the point. The world is headed in the right direction. Everybody has to grow. The Shia community has to grow in order to accept this big job. They have to focus on Islam, and not Peshawar nights and that other stuff. They have to focus on Islam. See, Imam Khomeini told them a long time ago about unity. But when he died, he told them in his will, the first thing he said, hold on to Thaqalain, 2 thaqas. One is the Quran, the other is Itriki al-Bayt. That means the bloodline of the Prophet. That's a hadith we all have, as soon as the Shias have it. It's just the way you want to interpret it. So, this is what he told everybody. Because a lot of people are saying, this Khomeini keep talking about unity and love. Maybe he's a closet Sunni. You are no closet Sunni. Top Shia in the world. But he was saying, focus on what we're dealing with. And teach Islam. And I showed y'all that book, Alama Tabat called Shia Islam. And I was showing it in class with it. That's a good book. Use that. Why? Because he teaches you Islam. Not who did this and who did that. Example, I'll close with this. When you go to a Protestant, when you go to any church, do they start off teaching you, we don't like the Pope, we separated from the Pope way back when, this is why, da 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 da. We don't do that. They tell you, you're a Methodist, you're just a Methodist church, this is our method. Isn't that right? You're a Baptist, hey, come on now, we got a little water here for you. He's going to get you baptized. He's going to get you into heaven. No matter how much foolish you do, he get a little bit of this here water, and it's all right. Now in the country, we bathed in the rivers, you know, with them bayous. That water, the water was not white water. It was like brownish. It still make you white as snow. Anyway, so they said, and they say now, and they teach Christianity. They don't teach, first thing, we hate Catholics, we don't like the Pope, right? How many books in the Bible, Protestant Bible? 66 books. How many books in the Catholic Bible? 72 books. You ever heard of Apocrypha? They got extra books. You ain't never heard them say, we got these many books, they got extra books in their Bible. Suppose the Muslims we had, like say, 114 surahs, and there was another group had 118 surahs. What would you say about them? Man, these guys is crazy. That ain't no Quran. Where you get them extra books from, right? They don't do that. They teach you what they're about. This is the part that Shias have to, in order to lead the world of Islam, they have to evolve. You can't get where you're trying to go staying like you are. We cannot get to where we need to go staying Negroes. It's evolution. I will close with this. Evolution of identity. Your first identity is your mom and daddy. You're in the house, is your identity. Then you start elementary school, little kids playing. I guess they don't shoot marble anymore, but they be playing. And that's your little identity around your elementary school. You get into junior high school, we tired of the Tigers or the Bears, right? And then you're in high school, you're part of the Cougars, and you go to that, and you start off as a civil rights, then you're a black nationalist, then finally you're a Muslim, right? And your identity continues to evolve. Most people get stuck somewhere along the way in the black consciousness movement. That's good. You're only 50, 60 years behind the time. That's fine. It's okay. You stuck back there. But we're in the Islamic movement which covers the black consciousness movement. We don't make decisions based on color because we're dealing with a global phenomenon, isn't that right? There was a time when we made decisions based on color alone. Because everybody hates niggas. Well, white folks hate niggas, the system is right. But the system hates everybody. So you got to work with and develop a policy that is the human resource policy, working with all the humans, right? But we in the Southeast, why? Because this is where our folks are located. It's just natural. But we're not cut off from the rest of the world. You see what I mean? They have it in ecology. They say, think globally, but act locally. Think about the world, but you got to do something right at home, right? If you can't do nothing with the Negro here, I don't like niggas no more. Well, where are you going? You're going to work out, sit out like them other coons, sit giving speeches for foreigners, right? Helping them in their movement. Brothers and sisters, I got, as usual, too much. We're going to close. We are part of an international process. We're going to do our part. It don't make no difference what other people do. As I told you last week about this great team was a bunch of losers, and they start goal setting to get to the Super Bowl. They got to the Super Bowl, and they just lost. So they researching why we do all that hard work, went from a scrub team to the Super Bowl. So one of the thinkers said, what did you goal set for? We goal set to get to the Super Bowl. Dummies. That's right. You didn't goal set to win the Super Bowl, did you? No. God, then they thought, a simple thing. Simple thing, right? They set their goal to get to the Super Bowl. They didn't goal set a little extra brain power to win the Super Bowl. So when they completed their goal, they got to the Super Bowl. We done already did our issue. We done got here, and they lost whatever, the whole slate. They just lost. Just like that. Why? We didn't goal set to get rid of the white man. We didn't goal set to just not be a nigger. We goal set to be a part of the global process of making this world a good place to live. Utopia is a good place. In modern times. And that's what we goal set for. And that's what we're going to do. We're not chasing no rabbits. This is the last thing. You know, I always said about them niggas that's always jumping on other niggas and shooting them. I don't like them kind of Negroes. The white man do anything they want to them. Take them to jail, beat them upside the head, and they don't do nothing. But a nigga step on their shoe and they shoot him. Gotta respect me, nigga. Right. Those kind of Negroes, I have never liked them. That they deadly on other blacks. They'll beat the fat off of your head, like some of the groups we know. Anyway, they ain't did nothing to the white man. I was a part of it. Talking all that gangster talk for the last 900 years, right? And they ain't jumped on nobody. Never. Always talking that gangstified black talk. In the old days, they would blow you up, kill you, do anything, but they just wouldn't do nothing to the white man, and he was the devil. I just couldn't figure that one out, so I had to leave. I said, well, if he's the devil, I'll stop with this video. I was a captain, and we had a meeting with the warden in McNeil Island. That's why I got sent to the Leavenworth. I'm close. So I'm the captain, we got the secretary and the minister. And this big old deputy warden, we call him John Wayne because he had walked out on the yard at Terre Haute one time without a gun, supposed to squash the riot. He was a big old tough cracker. So he was telling us, I want you guys to do this, and I want prerogative to do that. And I was watching the minister and the secretary, they was doing like this, everything this. I said, just a minute. This is the devil. And the big old white man, we the same size. And he looked at me and I said, what's happening? You're the devil. You can't talk to, you know what I mean? I believe in God, who came in the person of you-know-who. And you, the devil, the Yakub grafted devil, skunk of the planet Earth. You can't talk to me like that. I'm a captain in the nation of that. The minister, they just, I said, just a minute, hold it. The next thing I knew, I was on the boat headed to the But it was the greatest thing ever happened. I met all the brothers in the dark. I met the brothers, we got Al-Islam from here, from Al-Islam, from the Islamic Party. And all the brothers in the movement, I already knew everybody on the West Coast in California. I came out here and met the whole black movement that was in the penitentiary. We've been friends since then. Brothers and sisters, we're going to play our part here. When you come here, you're not part of just a bunch of niggas trying to kiss the white man's ass. If you want that, you have to go somewhere else. If you want to be accepted, you have to go over there. They got a Masjid that people can't find a place to sit down. You can go over there with them. But when they got punks over at a certain house, and they tell you, man, let's go over there, all the punks is over there. I said, I'm not going over there. I don't want to be with them punks. Right? I don't want to be accepted by the European. Right? O Allah, we seek thy refuge from anxiety and grief. We seek thy refuge from lack of strength and laziness. We seek